It should be recording. So we're now up to, we have our iMovie open that we're working on about iMovie features, video 2. We have a section title called Miscellaneous. So everything we're going to do today is going to be in that section. So it's going to be after the Miscellaneous section title, which is just before the end. So this is the last section on this project. Okay, first thing we need to do is import the media. I'm going to just click here. The down. Now I'm not worried about where exactly I store as long as I know where to find it. So I'm going to go to my desktop here. I'm going to look for iMovie clips that I copied over to the desktop. There it is right there. Okay, some of you are still waiting to, if it's still coming in, that's okay. Okay, I'm going to make a new event here just to demonstrate, and I'm going to call this here video 2 clips. Now when you make a new event, that's the idea, is that you're organizing your video in some logical way. So this would tell me that this here is video for video 2. And I put clips there because there's a little combination of clips in there. So I'm going to hit OK. Then I'm going to click Import Selected. Now I have to wait here while it imports. It may go fairly quickly because it's already on my desktop. Yep, looks like it's pretty much that's about it. Now, of course, when it first comes in, this is only 1 inch. And this is, 4 minutes of video in 1 inch. So that's, obviously I need to change the view. So I click on this little gear up here. I usually go out to the 30-second one, about right there, about 2/3 the way over. And then I deselect by clicking up here. Now, just to give you a little, just to take a look here. Now, I'm dragging the playhead through here. I believe I got my audio off so you don't have to hear a bunch of audio going on. This here is a student reading some announcement stuff about the Hunger Games. We'll be doing a picture-in-picture with that. Okay, this here is just some people in front of a green screen and some background that can go with that. Now, I do want to do that with you guys, but we'll first practice with their footage and then we may shoot your own. We'll try to fit in a little later this week. Okay, we have some people at an anchor desk here. I'm going to show you how to do that with a green screen. For this one here, see how we got the 2 shots there? I'm going to show you how to do what's called a cutaway. So we'll be using that for that. And then we get down here, we got Coach Buck, and she's talking about the swim team, which is what we call A-roll. And then we got footage of the swim team actually swimming that we can put over her talking. So we're going to be doing a picture-in-picture. This one's actually going to be, this is going to be a side-by-side. This one here will be a cutaway, A-roll, B-roll thing. This will be green screen in a location. And this will be green screen like HDTV type. Okay, so that's what we're going to be doing here. We're going to start with the one that's about the Hunger Games. Okay, so the way that's going to work is the first girl here, I forget her name, in the blue here. We're going to select her clip. And what I do is I just drag a little of it. I don't even worry that much. I have it all. You see where I'm going with this? As long as I grab at least 5-10 seconds and I pull down here, it remembers what's to the left and what's to the right. So in other words, once I drag it down to my, by the way, I want to put it in between here. So I want to put it in front of the end and after Miscellaneous. Now this here, I'm going to unplug the you guys. I'm just going to play it a little bit.
Tickets have sold out for every...
Okay, I'm going to go back a little further to about where she starts, about right there.
Mockingjay Part 2 came out in theaters last Friday, November 20th. Tickets have sold out for every showing up until today, Monday the 23rd. And that's all for you today. Have a good day.
Okay, that's not too bad right there. I'll plug this in so you can hear it. So for this first one here,
Mockingjay Part 2 came out in theaters
select that part here.
Tickets have sold out for every showing up until today, Monday the 23rd. And that's all for you today. Have a good day.
Okay, so that there is just a little clip. It starts with her saying Mockingjay. I think it's right at the very beginning.
Mockingjay part.
Okay, that's the beginning. So if you want to select all that and drag it down, or select part of it and just drag either end until you get what you need, and then it closes with her saying that. Now it all stays in this same color scheme, which means if you cut to the one that's a little bluer, that's her saying something else. So we're doing the one that's a little grayer color scheme here. It's a total of 11 seconds. Okay.
Mockingjay Part 2 came out in theaters last Friday, November 20th. Tickets have sold out for every showing up until today, Monday the 23rd. And that's all for you today. Have a good day.
Okay, now we have that 11-second clip. Okay, now the reason she's sitting like that off to the side is because we're going to put a picture-in-picture in here. Now a picture-in-picture could be a still photo or a graphic, or it could be a video clip. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. Open up a web browser, I don't care which one, and then we're going to look up Hunger Games 2 Mockingjay, or whatever. What'd you say? Mockingjay Part 2 Hunger Games? Mockingjay Part 2 Hunger Games. Okay, now we're looking for an image, like a movie poster. So click on images, and there, you know, a lot of these would work. You know, I would get one with the name of the movie, like this one right here. Okay, you see there's a number of them here around. Okay, so pick one of the ones that does say the name of the movie. If you accidentally do Mockingjay instead of Mockingjay Part 2, I'm not going to lose sleep over that. But if you can find a Mockingjay Part 2, that'd probably be even better. Now this one got white around it. I don't know if that's going to stay there or not, so I might try to find one that doesn't. Okay, this one here, it just says, it does say Part 2 on it. I might use this one instead. It doesn't have the white around it. So I clicked it. It takes me to the original. Sometimes it takes you to places that work good. This is an Apple Music preview. If I do a right click on it, it doesn't let me copy it over. So this one's not going to work. I got to close it. Okay, so when in doubt, go find another one. Now this one before, I'm not going to click it any further than this. I'm going to try to get it right here. So I'm going to do a right click. This one will work. It says Save Image As. Okay, so if one image doesn't work, don't panic. Just click around, find another one, and find a Save Image As. You have to do a right click on it. And a lot of times when you find a file like this, it's got a really weird name. Like this one got all these numbers and weird stuff, .jpg. I like the fact it's a JPEG. That's a good thing. JPEG is good. PNG should work. A GIF, usually the quality is not so great. JPEG or PNG is what I'm looking for, preferably a JPEG. I'm just going to put Mockingjay 2. That's probably good enough. And you can name it what you want. You can abbreviate if you want for the name. And I'm going to save this to my desktop. So I have to, if yours looks like this, okay, click on the expand button, and then go over here and double click desktop, because you want to save it to your desktop. That'll be an easy place to find it. Mine says Mockingjay2.jpg. Make sure it says desktop right here in the middle, there, and then hit save. This should be a review of stuff that you've done in your classes before. We're just getting a picture off the web, and we're saving it to our desktop. Now, once it's on the desktop, you know, quite frankly, the easiest thing to do is drag it into your timeline on top of the video clip. I'll show you how to do that. It's pretty simple. Here, I found mine way up here. See that there? Doesn't matter if you find it to the left, to the right, to the bottom, but you can literally just drag it right on top of here. Okay, now if you drag it in, it looks kind of small. You can always expand this here and then drag it out. Mine came in really short. Now mine coming in so short, that's probably because I have a bad setting up here. I'm going to go up here to my iMovies preferences, which are way up here in the iMovies menu. Go to Preferences, and for the photos, mine is set for some reason 1 second. I'm going to change it to 4. And I have this part set for fit, which I recommend to do. Okay, if you already brought it in, it's not going to affect what's already there. But if you import another one, it will. Okay, so you can drag the image in like this. I'll show you one other method. I'll delete this on purpose. You can drag it straight to your timeline and put it right on top of the video. Another option would be to click up here like you're importing a video clip. Go to your desktop by clicking there. Look for your image. Mine's called Mockingjay 2. And then make sure it's going to go to your event that you want to go to. Mine's video 2 clips. And click import selected. And that'll bring it in like this. It'll come in just like a video clip for like 4 seconds. You can drag it on top. That'll work also. Now, what do we want to do here? Well, we're going to do a couple of things. First of all, we need to get this on top of our clip we just did. Okay? So we want this on top. Now, if we just leave it like that, and we put our cursor here and hit the space bar to play it, it's going to do that.
Tickets have sold out for every showing up until today, Monday the 23rd, and that's all free.
Okay, now that is a cutaway. That's where you still hear the audio from the clip below. Actually, if there was any audio with that, you would hear that also, unless you turned it off. But we don't want a cutaway on this. We want a picture-in-picture. So let me show you how I do this. Did everybody get an image on top of theirs?
No, I haven't started.
Okay, well, watch then. Look on here. It's actually extremely easy. Okay, we got the image here. We got our 11-second clip right there. Okay, with our image there, we're going to click on that image. So we're going to click on what's above here. Then all these tools here appear up above. See that?
Yes.
We're going to click on the first one. And now yours may have already gone to this part where you can see the pull-down menu. Mine didn't. Okay, but one way or the other, this goes with this button right here. Now on this pull-down button, we have 4 options. The first is cutaway. That's where it covers up the clip below, and you hear audio from both unless you edit otherwise. Then we got green screen and blue screen, which if we were doing that, we would use, but we're not doing green screen or blue screen. They got something called split screen, which we're going to do with the Coach Buck one. We're not going to do it on this one. And then they got picture-in-picture, which we are going to do. So you select picture-in-picture like that, and then it first comes in something like this. But it's editable.
Yeah.
So the first thing is it's got handles on. So drag it out to whatever size you think looks good. And we don't want it on top of her. We don't want it touching her. We want it somewhere over in this area like that. Okay? So that adjusts the size of it and the location. Now some of you may like it there. You can adjust the size, whatever you think looks good. Okay? If you think that comes in a little bit big, like probably that's a little bit big. We want it to look like you're watching a news program and it has a picture-in-picture. Now, the next thing we got to make a decision on is to bring the cursor back here and click to move the playhead. Then I press the space bar.
Part 2 came out theaters last Friday, November 20th. Tickets have sold out for every showing up until today, Monday the 23rd, and that's all free today. Have a good day.
Okay. Now, how long when it starts, like when it appears, and how long it stays there, okay, is all based on your editing. In other words, you can drag it from the left and right if you think it needs to start a little bit sooner. You can drag it over on the right if it's either going too long or too short. I would say somewhere around 6-7 seconds. That's what seems to work good for me. I don't want it out too soon before she's really talking about it. Nor do I don't necessarily need it at the very end when they say goodbye or whatever. So let me take a look at this here.
Part 2 came out theaters last Friday, November 20th.
I can think that was good timing right there.
Sold out for every showing up until today, Monday the 23rd, and that's all free today. Have a good day.
Okay, so that's called a picture-in-picture, and that's the first one that we're doing here. Okay, everybody hopefully got that. If you didn't, because some problem or whatever, you can go back and catch that up later. Then everybody here now ready to do the next section. Junior, did you get that video imported in there?
I'm just gonna wait for that.
What's the problem with the import?
No, I was just lost on the It's not that big of a deal. Figure it out.
Okay, it's not that hard of a fix.
I said I'll get it.
Okay, so right now we're going to go up here to our footage. And the next one we're going to do here is first go to this footage here of Venice. This is Venice, Italy. There's one part of the footage where they're by this little bridge here. See that? And then there's another part of the footage where they're over here by this. Let's go. I think the part by the bridge will work better. So here's what we want to do. starting where the bridge begins. See how I'm dragging my playhead here? Okay, click there so your playhead goes there. Hold down the R, drag across, and try to select as much of that part as you can. I came in at just slightly under 14 seconds. Then you're going to click in the middle and drag down, and you got this background. Now, if you accidentally drag a little too much or a little too little, you can always drag the edges one way or the other. But it should come in something like that. I literally took this myself. I just hit record and let it run a little bit, you know, on a nice sunny day in Venice, Italy. Okay? So that'll work out good there. Now we have, before that, some green screen. And we'll be doing something similar with this with you guys, but this will be okay to do it here. It won't hurt anything. We have a couple of girls, and they're acting like they're looking around. So select, hold down the R, and select, you know, probably at least 8 or 9 seconds of that, maybe 10. Okay, and drag this on top of the Venice clip. Now, if your Venice clip is a little bit longer, that's okay. I like to get about 10 seconds of this. Okay. Then you can drag the Venice clip shorter so it's about the same length. Okay, so right now it doesn't look anything spectacular. Just girls in front of a green wall, and it doesn't look anything like, you know, they're at Venice yet. Okay, click on the top one. Okay, now go up here to the first one. If that's not already selected, click on that and get this pull down menu. Now, as you probably figured out, this is going to be the green blue screen. So select green and blue screen. Okay, but we're not done. This is the start. So we select that and you start seeing this here. The problem is it could look a bit better. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to do some editing to this, okay? So how do we edit this? Well, we're going to start with what's selected right now, which is them in the green. Now with that selected, see way up here on top? Click that little eraser here next to cleanup. Now I use this all the time when I do blue screen stuff or green screen. So click on that little eraser. Now go down in your image. I'm going to go in the bottom left corner here and click once. Now that made for a much nicer looking background. Now because I like that, I may just leave it. Now if you start clicking around to see what happens, you'll probably see it'll change. And you may do things that look better, you may do things that look worse. Okay, so you might have to click around to find your best option. I find clicking either down here in the bottom right or down here in the bottom left works best. So that's one step in the editing. We want to get our background looking good. There's also a slider here called softness. Now you can drag that, and as you probably imagine, at one extreme it doesn't look that great, and another extreme they start disappearing. So usually somewhere in the middle works best. Now another edit we're going to do that's not directly about green screen, but can be helpful with this. If you take a look at this here, it still looks kind of fake. And part of that is because they have studio lighting on them, and Venice, of course, is outside sunny. So how do you get that to look a little more realistic? Let me show you a trick. Now we have to click on, no, actually we're going to leave the same clip selected. You always have to stop and think, what am I editing? If I want to edit this part of the video, I have to click here. If I want to edit this part, I need to click up here. So I'm going to click this. I want to edit their coloring. Now if you go up here, there's the second one over here. It's called color balance. It looks like a circle with a half dark and half empty. Click on color balance. Now this one has things like white balance, and they got, I don't know, to be honest with you, I don't use this very often. They got something called match color. Actually, we're not going to use this one at all. Go to the next one over, and I forget what this is even called. I use it all the time. Okay. Nothing's popping up. We'll just say it's for adjustments. Now, down here, the first adjustments I do is this here. See how there's 5 markers here, along here? Sometimes I just click on like one in the middle, and I start doing this kind of stuff. And then I might try this one. And I might try this one here. or this one. I try to make her look more realistic, like she's really there. So maybe I have to desaturate her a little bit. Now these two sliders over to the right of that, this one makes everything more bluish, and this one makes everything more orange. Now if you go toward the orange, she definitely looks more fake there. If you go a little bit toward the bluish, that actually is not all bad. It actually desaturates the color a little more. This one over here does something similar to that. You can play around with either one. But the goal is to try to make her look something like she's really there. Now I'm going to see what it looks like by going back. Okay, that looks, I mean, I'm not saying it's perfect, but it's better. Okay, so we got a decent looking green screen effect, and we got a decent looking, coloring on that. So that's the second one over. Okay, now the next one here is we're going to do like an HCTV background. So select about 10 seconds of these girls doing the Mackenzie and Michaela. They were two of my HCTV people a couple years ago. I don't know, 10, 12 seconds, something like that. And pull them, oh, just a minute here. We have to put them on top. We got to put a background in first. Now, here's what we're going to do for studio backgrounds. We're going to find one. So go back up to your web browser. Now, here's what I do. You're going to find where I get some of my studio backgrounds. Okay. We're going to do a search for broadcast studio background. Okay, so it's a Google search, broadcast studio background, and you're going to get this kind of stuff. Now you might, if you scroll through here, you might recognize some of these because I've used some of these before. Now the ones that got the big green parts in them for doing green screen, don't grab one of those. But pretty much any of the other ones should be okay. For something completely different, I'm going to do one of these ones with red on it. I'll do this one here. You do not have to pick the same one as I do. If you want to try a different one, go ahead. Now we need basically an image. So I'm going to do a right click, save image as, expand this if need be, always turn off hide extension. I'm just going to put Studio BKG. To me that says studio background. Okay, this happens to be a PNG, but that should work. Actually, I guess, yeah. I'm going to save it to desktop so I can find it. Okay, then I'm going to minimize this. Now to get this into here, I could do the import and bring it in that way, or I can literally just drag it into the timeline. You want to put it before the end and after the Venice one. Just for sake of showing you a more official way, I'll click up here, import. Make sure I'm set for desktop. I'll look for studio background. There it is right there. And I'm going to make sure it goes to video 2 clips, which is my event for storing video. And I'm going to click import selected. So there it is right there. Now I'm going to drag this down here. It's going to go just inside the end. Okay, I'm going to drag it out a little bit, maybe about 15 seconds. Okay. Now because I did the fit, it's not going to move in or out. But if any of you get this moving in or out, click on it, click up here the crop tool, and click fit. If you didn't make some of the changes I told you guys to make, you might have the Ken Burns effect, which makes it zoom in and out a little bit. So we want it on fit. Okay. Now I'm going to go back up here. I'm going to find about at least 10 seconds of them talking. Don't worry if you got an absolute start or not. This is just practice, so it doesn't have to be 100% perfect. Okay, and as you can imagine, you put them on top, so anything green is on top. And anything underneath it is the background. And the background can be a video clip or an image, as you can see here. Okay, so we're going to click on the top part, highlight it where they are. We're going to go up here and change this to a green blue screen getaway, whatever. We're going to click on our erase tool and click around to try and make it look better. Whoops, I accidentally did too much. I don't know what I was thinking there. When in doubt, undo.
I have some water, Mr. Allen.
If it's an emergency. Okay, I just did that. That looks pretty good for practice. Okay, I could play around with some of these settings and that, as you guys probably know, but this looks pretty good. Okay, that's not too bad. I'm going to test it out here. There they are talking.
Do you bleed blue and white? Are you interested in boosting school spirit? Sign up for the book club in the main office. If you're interested in competitive cheer, sign up in the athletic office and grab a packet.
Okay, now don't worry too much if the ending of it is a little bit rough. They might disappear and you might see the background or whatever. Just try to do as best you can. So we did 3 things so far. We did the picture-in-picture. We did a regular green screen type background. We did one with a studio, more like an HCTV type thing. Now we're going to do a side-by-side. Oh, actually not. We're going to do, excuse me, we're going to do a traditional A-roll, B-roll. So our A-roll is going to be the volleyball girls talking. So hold down the R and drag across them talking. Okay, try to fall just short of the girl holding the big pink t-shirt up close. So I'm going to drag this down just after that. And here's what I got. I have 15 seconds. If you got like 14 seconds of this or even 12, that's okay. But let's see here.
Team. This Wednesday is our Dig Team game and also our senior night. These are our t-shirts. Our record is 36-4-1, and this is our last home game, so we'd love to see you come out and support.
Okay, now, as you saw there, she said something. There was a little of a gap there. You heard a little bit of a noise, and she handed over a microphone to someone else. Now, we want to edit this nicely, and we also want to cover that up, and we don't want to lose anything that they're saying. This kind of stuff I do all the time, and if you work on HCTV segments, you will too. Okay, so how do we do that? Okay, first thing we're going to do is go back up here to our clip here, and we're going to select the little part where they're holding the t-shirt. So put your cursor there, hold down the R, and drag across. Now in this case here, okay, I'm going to drag this down. I end up dragging about 5 seconds of t-shirt. Okay, now if you got 4 seconds, that's okay. 5 seconds, 6 seconds, somewhere right in there. Now, if you're a little short like me, you can always drag to the right and see how far you can go before it disappears. It turns out I can make it slightly longer. If I go too far this direction, I'll end up back into them talking. Okay? Now, there is some audio in this clip right here on top. I don't want that. So I'm going to pull this down right there so I have no audio in this one here. Now, here I'm going to go back and I'm going to try to time this and listen to the audio at the same time.
And also our senior night. These are our t-shirts. Our record is 36-4-1, and this is our last home game, so we'd love to see you come out and support.
Okay, now, here's the thing is, they said, these are our t-shirt, that was good. And we covered a little bit of that up where she hands over that. This probably goes a little bit long, so I probably want to pull this in. So when it cuts back to the other girl talking.
Our record is 36-4-1, and this is our last home game, so we'd love to see you come out and support.
Okay, now there is a gap here where no one says anything. Now, being there, this people watching this are looking at the big pink shirt. That's not necessarily all bad. But to me, it felt like it was a little too much. So let me show you this trick I do. Now, I'm going to go way wide to do this. And the reason I went way wide is so that I can edit this a little bit better. And you'll see in a second where I'm going with this. Okay, I'm trying to see why I don't have my slider there. Go figure. Okay, I should have a slider right there. But something weird's going on. Okay. Okay. The reason there's no slider there because I made the view go so wide. Well, either way, right here is the dead part.
Shirts.
About right there. So watch this. I'm going to click there on the lower one. I'm going to do a right click and split it. Now I'm not going to delete anything because I don't know. Maybe when I'm about to edit, I'll change my mind. I'm going to drag this in just a little bit to the right. Now it looks like it made a big gap there, but it really didn't. It shortened that dead space there, and I still have it all covered up with this. Now if I do this here, let's see how this looks.
It's also our senior night. These are our t-shirts. Our record is 36-4-1, and this is our last home game, so we love
That looks pretty good. What do you guys think? Okay, it covered it up. I clicked here and split and dragged and took a little bit of that dead space out. They do make reference to the t-shirts. It comes up and you get to see a close-up. And it also covers up them handing off the microphone. So by the time you get to the other girl, either, depending on your edit on the right side, either you got to her when she already had the mic in her hand, or you start hearing her start to talk before this disappears. Okay? So this is a standard cutaway.
And it's also our senior night. These are our t-shirts. Our record is 36-4-1, and this is our last home game, so we'd love to see you come out and support.
Okay, so that looks pretty good. So that's we do this kind of stuff all the time. It's called A-roll, B-roll. We have a little bit of B-roll. Sometimes we use it to cover up some things. And it's a close-up of these t-shirts we're talking about. So that's a standard cutaway. Okay, now we're going to get to the side-by-side with Coach Buck. So how do you do that? Now this next part here, sometimes I forget which one goes on the bottom. I think she does. So we're going to start with her on the bottom. So we find her, we hold down the R and we drag across, and we select maybe 12 seconds of her talking. Okay, so that's Coach Buck talking here.
There's a strong standout for us on the diving board, and she is all-state returning, so she is probably our best chance of scoring at the state level.
Okay, so she's making reference to a diver. So we want to look specifically for a diver. Even though these other shots of people swimming may look okay, like, hey, that's not all bad, Mr. Rio, we primarily want the diver because she's making reference to the diver. So let's go to where the diver is right there. Hold down the R and then drag. And I end up with like 4 or 5 seconds. Now go ahead and click and drag that down here. Now, the audio that's in the part where the person's diving, I don't want to take that out 100%. I want to hear a little bit of the splash or whatever's going on. So I'm going to pull that down to maybe like 22%. I'm going to see how that works. Now here's what I have, that just a cutaway. This is just a cutaway.
A diving board, and she is all-state returning, so she is probably our best chance.
Okay, that actually is a nice edit if you're doing a cutaway. Does everyone see where I'm going with that? If we were doing a cutaway, that would be a pretty nice edit.
The diving board, and she is all-state returning, so she is probably our best chance.
Okay, now we're going to do, because our objective is to make a side-by-side, we're going to do this, and then we'll take a break. So we're going to go to split screen. Now when you go to split screen, I clicked on the top one there. Okay, it looks like that. Okay, I'm going to double click on it. Now I have a few options here. They have left, which means I could put it like this. I could select right, and that puts Coach Buck there. That looks good for her. I'm not sure. Yeah, I guess this isn't bad here. I kind of like the right one. They got some other sayings here I'm not going to go into, but this looks pretty good. Her talking and the diver there. So I'm going to go ahead and click the apply button. Now let's see how this here looks.
And she is all-state returning, so she is probably our best chance of scoring at the state level.
Okay, now that worked pretty good. Now what we're going to do after the break, because I'm going to end the screen record here, is we're going to go back. We're going to put some text over this here. We're going to call it picture in picture. We're going to do text over this. That's going to simply say green screen. We're going to do text over this that says green screen HCTV. So you get a feel that's like what we do for HCTV. This one here, we're going to do a text that says cutaway. This one here, we're going to do a text that says side by side. Okay, so we are all done here with